The story begins with a government worker named Lee Hongjo. She goes to a noisy construction site because people complain about the noise. Hongjo says she can't stop the construction because the noise is within the allowed limit. The people get mad and yell at her. At the same time, a construction worker falls and dies. A piece of metal pierces his head. Then we meet Jang Sinyu, a lawyer who works on the case. He has a disease that slows down his heart and makes him see a scary hand on his face. Sinyu talks to the hand, asking it not to hurt him. But his colleague, Kim Wook, interrupts. Wook tells Sinyu to prepare for a hearing the next day. During the hearing, Sinyu proves that the worker faked the accident to get money for his son's cancer treatment. Sinyu's client wins the case and they celebrate at a club. At the club, the client becomes violent with a female worker and attacks a male worker who tries to help. Sinyu arrives and stops it by mentioning security cameras. Meanwhile, a young vlogger has an accident at an old shrine at night. He falls and gets hurt. Hongjo is moved to a new department where her boss, Dong Seogu, treats her badly. He's upset because Hongjo's actions cost him a promotion. Hongjo also has a crush on Kwon Jae-kyung, who works at City Hall. When the vlogger's parents cause a scene at the office, Hongjo offers to check out the spooky shrine. She promises to get it torn down as the parents want. Her colleague, Sabayol, goes with her but asks her to go alone to inspect it. Hongjo takes pictures of the spooky shrine to show the people who will tear it down, but then she sees Sinyu there too. She gets so scared that she faints and falls to the ground. Hongjo thinks Sinyu is the Grim Reaper, but he surprises her by taking a photo of her instead. When Hongjo wakes up, Sabayol scolds her for making her come to the scary place. On the other hand, Sinyu goes to a family member's funeral. His dad scolds him for not taking care of their family shrine. Sinyu says he paid a lot of money to fix the shrine, but it's still not fixed. His dad makes fun of him, and his grandpa asks for a drink, but Sinyu's hand shakes while pouring the drink. Sinyu lies to cover up his shaky hands and leaves. He goes to a doctor who says he has serious brain damage. It's a genetic problem, and he'll lose control of the right side of his body and have trouble speaking. Back at the office, Hongjo finds out the shrine doesn't belong to the government but to a private person. Her boss tells her to find out more because there's no record of it. Soo-hoo threatens her job if she can't convince the owners to tear it down. Hongjo asks the elderly people nearby and learns the shrine is owned by a family of construction workers. The newest owner is a lawyer named Sinyu. She goes to visit him and recognizes him in the elevator. When Hongjo meets Sinyu, it's awkward. She accuses him of leaving her to die in the haunted shrine. She asks him to demolish it, but he refuses. Sinyu says the vlogger trespassed on his property, so the vlogger's death isn't his concern. Feeling down, Hongjo leaves Sinyu's office and sees Jae-kyung on her way back to City Hall. Jae-kyung is helping an architect who is going to the civil office. Protesters against a project try to splash water on Jae-kyung, but Hongjo jumps in front to protect him and gets wet instead. Back at her office, Hongjo's boss gets mad at her for not keeping her promise to get rid of the haunted shrine. Meanwhile, Sinyu is on a date with his girlfriend, Yoon Na-yeon. She's upset because he hasn't been spending much time with her lately. Sinyu apologizes to his girlfriend Na-yeon for being too busy with work. He doesn't want to talk about his health issues and continues the date. Meanwhile, Hongjo remembers hearing about an elderly shaman who used to live in the shrine. She decides to ask Sinyu about it since he might know more, as he mentioned the shaman is now in a nursing home. On her way home, Hongjo meets Jae-kyung in the elevator, and she starts blushing. He was concerned about her safety during the protest and warns her to be careful. They chat for a bit, and then Jae-kyung heads home, leaving Hongjo watching him go. The next morning, Hongjo goes to Sinyu's office and they start arguing right away. She asks him where the shaman is, wanting to talk to her. Hongjo also shares that her colleagues have been treating her poorly and she doesn't want to eat alone at work, just like she's tired of eating alone at home. Sinyu is moved by Hongjo's story and gives her the number for the Ministry of Labor to report workplace harassment. He also tells her the name of the nursing home so she can speak to the shaman. Hongjo visits the shaman and calls Shinju, telling him that Shaman Unwol has agreed to demolish the shrine. She sends Shinju a video of the shaman giving her permission. Shinju goes to see the shaman himself and asks her why she's allowing Hongjo to tear down the shrine. The shaman says that Shinju was responsible for someone's death in a past life and must face the consequences. She adds that Hongjo has the key to break his curse. The next day, Hongjo joins Shinju and his family for a spiritual ceremony before demolishing the shrine. Later that night, Hongjo finds out her colleagues are having dinner without her and feels sad. While they're tearing down the shrine, Shinju discovers a chest and remembers what the shaman told him about Hongjo having a key to it. He finds Hongjo crying outside City Hall and asks her to come with him. Sinyu comes to the city hall and sees Hongjo crying outside. He has a gift from the shaman for her. Sinyu gives her a wooden box and Hongjo is confused by this, but she takes it home. That night, Hongjo tries to open the box but can't. She tries using a hammer but gets distracted by an LED light in her apartment. She gives up and gets a call from Sinyu, who asks about the box. Hongjo tells him she couldn't open it and will try again tomorrow. The next day, Hongjo is at work and her teammates ask her to get hangover drinks for them because they went out for dinner together. She goes to a plant nursery to buy plants for decorating the main street and learns about the mayor of Anju City. Meanwhile, Jae-kyung tells his boss that the civil lawyers at City Hall often lose cases because they are paid by the government. He suggests hiring a competent lawyer who isn't greedy. His boss doubts they can find someone good who will work for their low salary. Jae-kyung says he knows someone suitable for the job. At the same time, Sinyu calls Hongjo to ask if she managed to open the box. He also finds out that Hongjo is still being treated poorly by her team when she answers his call during lunch at a local children's park. Hongjo asks him not to call until she figures out how to open the box. Later, Jae-kyung visits Sinyu's office and tells him about a job opportunity. Since they were senior and junior in college, they know each other well. Sinyu also learns that City Hall has several cases against the construction client named Ham. That night, Hongjo tries to open the wooden box again while on a video call with Sinyu to show him her struggle. She tries different tricks, but the lock won't open. She ends the call and loses hope. The next day, Sinyu is in a meeting with Hyun-seo, the CEO of LAM. Hyun-seo gives expensive watches to the lawyers at Law and High Law firm and sarcastically apologizes to the female lawyer for his previous behavior at his celebration party. He says that despite being the law firm's biggest client, he's forced to apologize because of Sinyu. As Hyun-seo leaves, he wants Sinyu to bow and show respect like the other lawyers. But Sinyu refuses and hands in his resignation letter. He asks his boss to choose between their big client and a lawyer like him. That night, Hongjo tries to fix her broken LED light by herself and ends up hurting herself after falling off a chair. She wishes Jae-kyung was there to take care of her. But she's surprised to find that the wooden box has magically unlocked. Sinyu tells his father that he quit his job and wants to take care of his health. His father, Si-hyun, advises him to take it easy for a while and rest before starting a new job. Sinyu thinks about taking the job at City Hall. The next morning, Hongjo meets Sinyu and tells him that the wooden box holds a book of magical spells. She thinks the book is useless and makes fun of it. Sinyu asks if he can have the book, but Hongjo says it's her gift and she wants to keep it. She also reveals that a shaman named Angcho is the real owner of the book. Jae-kyung joins their conversation and asks about the wound on Hongjo's forehead. Hongjo starts acting shy and blushing, which confuses Sinyu. She learns that Jae-kyung posted a message praising her on a community board and gets teased by her colleagues for liking the guy they all like. Sabayul tells her to get in line. Sinyu starts working at City Hall and looks up information about Angcho the shaman. He finds out that she was a shaman from the Joseon dynasty who was killed by a man named Jang Moo-jin. That evening, he finds Hongjo at her desk and asks to see the Book of Spells in person. Sinyu drives Hongjo home after she insists on showing him the book outside. On her way home, a drunk man harasses Hongjo, but Sinyu arrives in time to help her. She invites him to her house to fix the LED light. Sinyu has another health issue and can't fix the light. He offers to call someone to repair it, but Hongjo shows him the book and asks him to leave. Sinyu discovers several spells in the book, including one to heal diseases. He asks Hongjo to promise to save that spell for him and goes back home. The next day, Sinyu's girlfriend Naeun visits City Hall and runs into Hongjo. Hongjo is surprised to learn that Naeun is the mayor's daughter and used to be her high school friend. Naeun apologizes for a mistake she made in the past and says she also suffered because of it. Sinyu interrupts and thinks Hongjo is being mean to Naeun for no reason. He says that Hongjo's attitude is why she was treated poorly by her colleagues. In the car, Naeun tells Sinyu that she went to the same high school as Hongjo and was bullied because she was poor. She became friends with Hongjo, but Hongjo wasn't nice to her. Naeun says she was already going through a tough time at home and Hongjo's behavior made things worse. That day, Hongjo goes to where her colleagues are hanging out and tries to join them. She asks if she could be part of their group. Jae-kyung and Sinyu show up at the same restaurant with another lawyer who used to work at City Hall. They have a few drinks with Hongjo and her colleagues and then leave. On her way home, Hongjo meets Jae-kyung, who gives her a new outfit because she ruined her old one while trying to save him. Hongjo is moved by the gesture and confesses her feelings for him. But Jae-kyung tells her he likes her as a friend and doesn't have romantic feelings for her. Hongjo is sad about the rejection. Sinyu finds them and accuses Hongjo of trying to steal her friend's boyfriend. He also accuses her of developing feelings for any guy who is kind to her and makes fun of her. Hanjo and Sinyu argue because she feels he's making assumptions without knowing her. The next day, Hanjo is embarrassed at work when a video of her proposing to Jaekyung and getting rejected goes viral. She thinks Sinyu leaked the video, but he says the angle it was recorded from proves it wasn't him. She's embarrassed and spends the evening drinking alone at home. When she gets home, her landlady gives her a box of groceries, including goat's milk. She remembers that the love spell in the spell book had goat milk as an ingredient, so she decides to perform the spell on Jaekyung. Hanjo wears a hanbok, a traditional Korean dress, for the ritual. Meanwhile, Sinyu has another health issue on his way home, and the red hand starts to control him. He loses control of his car and crashes into the potted plants Hanjo had placed on the street. Hanjo finishes the spell to make Jaekyung fall in love with her. Subscribe and comment down to watch the next part. Thanks for watching.